Hey there, my Tyler Perry Sistas fans. It's your girl Barbie J here with Season 5, Episode 6. Keep it 100. And it seemed like people was keeping it 100. Madam telling who she was keeping it 100. I guess Karen telling Aaron how she felt was keeping it 100. I don't know. So anyway, let me just get started. I mean, what did y'all think about this episode? I thought it was pretty good. I mean, it moved along. I wasn't bored. There were some good parts, the parts with Deja and stuff. I know Zach was pissed up in that table while Karen was blaming him for everything. It was just a lot. That whole thing with Fatima and her cousin, I'm just not sure about that part either. But let me get started. So we got Madam. She asked Fatima, why is she there? And everyone is acting all strange, and Andi is definitely clueless. Then Madam says, last time you called me, you had me beat a nigga ass and throw him on top of a car. And Andi is like, wait, that was you? And Fatima says, yeah, she was responsible for all that. Then Andi starts looking at everyone, asking what is going on. Because she's like, something ain't right here. Why are we calling this type of lady? And they all like, who wants to tell her? So we learned that Fatima and Madam used to be very close cousins until Fatima decided to go all legal and ish. And Andi goes, oh. And Madam was like, oh, is she judging me? And Fatima and Andy's like, no. And she said, well, what do you do for a living? She said, I'm an attorney. She said, oh, ish. Okay. Well, I guess I just met my new girlfriend. I said, yeah, she don't know what kind of attorney yet. Then we had Ms. Lisa and Aaron and Karen and Zach, and they finish eating, and Zach is anxious to leave and keeps watching the time, and Zach and Karen start bickering at the dinner table, and Aaron keeps putting in his 2 cents, so Zach is like telling him, don't say ish to me, and so Zach wants to leave, and Karen's, she's like, let him leave, that's what he do when he don't like what he hear. So Karen says she doesn't want to do this, but Miss Lisa is like, she's going to do this. And Lisa asked them both to sit there and listen. This is Aaron and Zach, to listen no matter how hard it may be to hear her feelings. But I gotta mention one thing. Karen said they both have been stressing her out. When that's not true. Zach has been trying to stay away from her, and she is the one who kept going after him. Aaron kept trying to be there for her, and that was annoying her, so she was getting stressed by him. So I'm like, she was stressing herself, if you ask me. But anywho, Karen addresses Aaron first, letting him know that she met him at the wrong time. She mentioned his ex-wife, thinking they had something going on when they hadn't. She admitted that every day she tried not to use him. She wished she could have met him first so she'd know how she is supposed to be treated. She also said she's been waiting for him to change, but he stayed consistent, unlike Zach. And then she does some more digs at Zach, saying she fell in love with a damn fool and didn't have anything left for him. Talk about for Aaron. And Zach wants to get up and leave at that point again, but Lisa's like, no, sit down. So she said he treats her like she's always wanted to be treated by Zach. And she truly loves Aaron, but she's not in love with him. So Aaron says, I'm sorry you feel that way, but he understands because he's been there himself. And Karen is crying a lot, and Aaron has a few tears as well. And then we just switch over to Robin and Paris. Lord help me. So Paris walks into Robin's office, which was dark, but slightly lit by a desk lamp. And he asks to take his trash. Then Robin is looking at him and asks if he's Paris. And he says yes. Then he asks, does he know Andi and how well? And if he has ever taken her out. Paris answers he knows her from working at the law firm. And no, he has never taken her out. He said, has someone told him? She's like, Paris said, has someone told you something different? And Robin says, no. But you would like to take her out, wouldn't you? And Paris answers honestly and says, she's a beautiful woman, but way out of my league. And Robin says, you think so? And Paris said, yes, look, I'm a janitor. I said, oh, Lord, that don't mean nothing really. But Robin says, right. So now he feels like an idiot, I'm sure, for being so nasty to Andi, not verifying the sources, that the information he received in the source. You're supposed to be a businessman. So how do you a businessman and you jump into conclusions without finding out and doing your research? You got to do research, Anyway, skipping over to Danny. I don't like this. Danny's at the bar calling Andi about Sabrina. Then the guy from the plane shows up. If anybody knows who that guy's name is, I can't remember his name. It's not sticking yet. Right now, he's the guy from the plane. So the guy from the plane shows up for their little date. Danny asks him to tell her about himself, and he said only if she'll tell about herself. So she lets him know that just because he pays for some drinks doesn't mean he gonna get all of this ass. And she tells him, he's like, well, usually when I go out and buy people drinks and stuff, we end up back at the house or something like that. She said, the drink to ass ratio right now is off. You see all of this, And I said, that is funny. It is off, So he said, well, let's just see how the night goes. So then we have Fatima answering Madam, saying she was there because she wanted her to meet Zach. But then she tells Andi to let Madam know what she wants. And Angela's telling her, Madam's favors are costly. You sure you want to say something? And Fatima said, I already told her. And she said it, but she didn't explain what that means, that they're costly. So Andi starts telling Madam about her friend and a bank robbery. Madam stopped her and said, are you talking about Sabrina Hollins? And Andi said, yeah, how did you know? And Madam said, I don't walk into a room and don't know who the F I'm dealing with. I said, ooh, okay. So she pretended she just now meeting Andi. You know what? She did research on her. She already knew why she was there then. So she tells Madam what she needs help with. And Madam says, is that it? That's all you need? And she's like, yeah. So she gets up and goes to get her phone. In the meanwhile, Fatima tells Andi that Madam is going to handle it. And Andi is like, handle it? And she said, yeah, she's going to handle it. So Angela tries to tell Andi about Madam and Fatima's family. And Fatima's trying to shut her up. And I don't know why. She should just let Angela tell her so Andi is well aware of what is going on. So Andi asks, will she be able to help Sabrina? And Fatima says, absolutely. And Andi asked, legally? And Angela said, absolutely not. I said, oh, Lord. Then Madam comes back in about 5 minutes and tells Andi where Sabrina is, what's going on, and gave her a number that she could call or reach her. I said, damn, you was good. And she mentioned something about Maurice Webb having a recording saying they were both in on the robbery. So then Andi asked Madam, I don't know if I knew Maurice's last name was Webb, but anyway, then Andi asked Madam not to be nosy, but who is her contact? And I was like, oh, shoot. I remember Angela said, don't be asking no questions. So anyway, so she tells her about a judge who likes to get, have sex with one of her dancers at Eden, but doesn't like to pay. So when I call her, the judge jumps. I said, oh, snaps. I said, okay. So once again, Andi says, oh. And Madam said, Tima, did you tell her? And she said, no, because she kept saying, all these L's. She's like, did you tell her? And Angela said, I tried. And Madam tells Andi that she's a gangster and she handles her ish, keeping it 100. There it is. You know what I mean? Then she asked Andi what type of lawyer, and she says a divorce attorney. And Madam said, I can't do nothing with that. I need a criminal lawyer. And Andi's like, oh, well, I know a lot of criminal attorneys. So Madam said, I'm going to hold you to that. Then Andi's phone keeps ringing. So she excuses herself to answer it because she said it must be important. I guess Fatima saw whose name it was popping up. So when she leaves, Madam says that she likes her. And Fatima said, yeah, she's a good boss. And Madam asks, where's Zach? And Fatima explains, and Madam gives her opinion on how Fatima should handle that situation. I told y'all that Fatima goes over there because Madam said she should. I knew just what I was talking about. So now Andi's out there on the phone, and she returns the call and is Robin, and he admits he was wrong. And Andi has no time for him, and I don't blame her. I was like, girlfriend, I'm so glad she did that. She was like, yes, sir. Is there a problem at work? And he's trying to talk to her. She's like, is there a client who is unhappy? And he said, and said, if it doesn't have to do with work, she said, there's no need to call me. And he was trying to explain it. And she said, hey, look, he's going, I'll be at the steam plant. What did he say? He's going to be at the steam plant tonight. And Andi said, that has nothing to do with work. Goodbye. Click. I said, yes, my girl. Then it switched over to Q and Calvin. And I can't stand this. But anyway, I'll just say briefly, Calvin gets home and Q has gotten back into the house, and this was such a dumb scene if you ask me. Q is saying how Calvin is looking at him and something with a vibrator and how he got hit at the bank, and Maurice told me everything. Yada yada. I didn't like the scene. Next we got Fatima and Madam and Angela. They chatting when Andi comes back in and tells Fatima that what she had said to Robin, and that, she said her goodbyes and then leaves. Both Angela and Madam feel that Andi is going to leave now and go have sex with Robin right now. But Fatima doesn't think so. But we shall see. Then we got Zach calls, and he said Karen blamed him for everything. She got all emotional and had to take a break. And Fatima's like, damn, what kind of exercise is this? Then he added that he's giving them 20 more minutes, and then he's leaving. And Fatima said, all right, as long as you do what you have to do, what has to be done, or something like that, she said. Then they hear loud music, and Fatima tells Madam about it, and she tells Fatima she needs to take care of it, because Fatima kept saying, I got it. Like, she don't want Madam to go over there and cause no problems. She said, I got it. And Madam's like, Tima, you ain't got it. You hear all this noise up in here? She said, I keep telling her, but she turns it up and blah, blah, blah. So they all go over there. Fatima said, let's go over there. So they go around to Deja's house, and Deja comes out front, and she starts getting stank with Fatima and Angela, because that's the only two she really sees. Madam is around the corner, like around the other part of the wall. But when she sees Madam, she freaks out, and she's like, oh, Madam. And Madam's like, the one and only. And Madam's like, how do you know me? And Deja said, no, I only heard about you that Madam don't play. And Madam said, well, that would be right. And she told her, you don't mess with my blood. And she said, oh, she's your blood? She said, yeah, she's my blood. Now go and apologize to her. Go apologize to my cousin. And she said, and if she apologized, she said, do it better. She said, mean it. And she tells her, if Fatima tell me anything else about you flirting with her man and blasting your music, she said, I won't be back, but I will send someone to take care of you. And she said, them damn speakers, I don't know what size they are, but she said that you blasting that music from, she said, those will be your coffin. I said, oh, snap. She put her in check real quick. So they go back into the house. Then Danny and that passenger, they back in her apartment, and she does look nice in that little black outfit. I like what she got on. And they've been drinking and getting high, and then she touches, they kissing, and she touches penis. I don't know what happened. Something went wrong, and I think his little ding-a-ling-a-ling wasn't really getting up or something. And then they start kissing again and some more, and he asked her to just let him show what he can do. I was like, this is ridiculous. Really, Danny, please. Then we got Andi. She's home, and she decides to call Danny and tells her about Fatima's cousin being able to get her in to see Sabrina. And Danny wants to go as well, but Andi tells her only legal counsel could go in there. And Danny's like, well, you better tell him I'm your boss or somebody that works with you. And she's like, okay, fine. Then she hears someone in the background at Danny's house, and she said, who is that? And she's like, no, I have to go. She's like, tell him I said hello. And I'm like, why are you yelling at somebody? You don't know who it is. Tell him you said hello. That made no sense, Andi. But now this fool, he sees that Danny is taking a call. Why would you try and make it known to the caller that she has someone in her apartment talking about, come on, let's go, let's do this, or something like that? I didn't like that. And the truth is, that fool looks super nerdy to me. I don't know why Danny is even messing with him. It makes no sense to me. Then Andi is listening to the voicemail from Paris, giving her the heads up about Robin, asking him questions about her. So she decides to call Paris back. She was kind of cool towards him. I didn't like that, which, I really didn't. I feel she should have been a bit warmer and thankful for this information, and that he didn't tell Robin anything that may have hurt her in some kind of way, So she is so busy trying to figure out what Robin is up to when she already knows that he heard about her relationship with Paris. But anyway, he's like, well, you have a good night. And she just said, she could have said you too, but she just said good night and hung up. She was so dry. Anyway, that was that. And then it ended with Karen she comes out of the room from crying with her mother, and she about to sit down and attack Zach with her letter, even though she says this isn't an attack. And at that point, Zach is like, whatever. He already knows it's going to be an attack. And somebody knocks at the door, and they're like, who is that? So Miss Lisa gets up to go to the door. Why? Aaron could be annoying. Oh, let me get that. First of all, it's not your damn house. You don't need to be answering nobody's door. Miss Lisa has already gotten up and walked over to the door. Why are you saying, do you want me to answer that? It's just like weird. There's two people who should be answering it sitting right there. So when Miss Lisa opens the door, it is none other than Fatima. Yes, Fatima's there to be by her man's side. And I'm glad she did show up to sit with him and listen to her bull attack. Because we seeing for next week, she told me, I'm trying to be done with you. I want to be done with you. And something about this baby. You don't know if the baby's his. You ain't saying nothing about that baby with Aaron. I don't think she said, I don't recall. Y'all tell me down in the comment section if you heard her mention anything about a baby with Aaron. Anyway, I'm hoping Karen to be a woman and step up and apologize to Fatima, because she was so nasty to her all this time, and Fatima never did anything to her. So that's what I'm hoping. And I'm also hoping that Fatima gets a chance to come back at her or say something to her, about the way she has been behaving, because her mother's only hearing one side of it, and hopefully her mother could hear both sides. Anyway, I'll see y'all in the next video. It's your girl Barbie J saying peace.